Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, goodbye, hello, welcome to the Boom Bar.
Please, it's not goodbye, oh. Thank you very
Then I
much.
said hello and welcome to
Thank
the
you. It's
Boom
not
Bar.
goodbye at all.
It is the very first edition of the Boom Bar in the month of March. We're glad to be here. We're excited, and we have a packed show for you.
Yep. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's a very wonderful day to be, to be to be alive today. To be, it's already March. Wow, wow. Hello, March.
2022.
2022. Like thinking like, when did we just like get into 2022? But
This time next year, we'll already know who will be Nigeria's next
oh
president.
yeah.
President.
It's very interesting times all over the world, in Nigeria and of course in a lot of places as we know. Between yesterday and today, there's a lot of news today, but I'd like to have a little bit of recap of yesterday. A few updates from what happened, a few things that we had talked about yesterday. For example, sports. Yesterday we spoke about FIFA and a little bit of sanctions that they were having with Russia, and making Russian teams play as RFU or something funny like that, Russian Federation of Union of Football Union or something like that. Now, between yesterday, that afternoon, and today, there has been an update on sanctions. UEFA and FIFA have officially suspended all teams, the Russian national team and other Russian teams that play in the UEFA as well. They're officially not supposed to play anymore, according to them. The reasons is because of what Russia is doing to Ukraine. A lot of Ukrainian teams cannot play. A lot of Ukrainian teams cannot attend a lot of these tournaments. So, if one person cannot attend, another person cannot attend. I don't know if you saw this news. I also saw today that a particular tennis player that's Ukrainian refused to play with a Russian opponent today. She just refused. And honestly, can you blame her? Like, I ain't doing it. No, not you. Maybe he's just not going to work, yeah. So yeah, there's a few other things. There's a little bit of updates from the Nigerian side in Ukraine. I'm talking about how the evacuation of Nigerian people, there was like a certain number in that had moved. They had said that about 200 other people were moving, and now the federal government, as last night, had come out to say that Air Peace and Max Air will start.
Two Nigerian airlines.
Two Nigerian airlines will start moving people from Poland, from Hungary, from Romania, from tomorrow.
That is good news.
That's very good news. But there's also another angle of that story that I wanted to talk about, and this also happened last night, where the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyeama, it's really in the news a lot these days, was talking about how a lot of that, if not for the issues of war, a lot of Nigerians, students, people that want to migrate there, whatever it is that you went to do in Ukraine or whatever any other country, exactly, except you're going like as a delegate or maybe a scholarship from the government or something. You're a private citizen that went to these places on your own volition. So it's just that he now said that he feels that it's a very dicey situation who should move who, because you left on your own volition. Shouldn't you be on your way back by yourself?
Yeah, we've had different discussions about this back and forth. My take on it is that, of course, that should be the normal thing. Like, everybody that travels should always have return tickets. You get, so if you're there for a long time, at least you make provisions for yourself to get out when it's time to leave, except you don't have plans to leave at all. And again, if you don't have plans to leave and there's war, then how is it the problem of the government? You're the one that had plans to stay back.
You know.
So, but on the flip side, you look at how a country is like a mother to a child. The government is like your parent. So they need to go that extra mile because every Nigerian life should matter.
Yeah.
So that's where you find government getting involved
in this
and they just look at the cost and weigh it and say, you know what, these are our children, these are our citizens, let's bring them back
do
home
that now
safely.
If we juxtapose this, take for example, for the past few days now, the United States government has been going on literally announcing that Americans should leave Russia because it looks like a lot of airlines, a lot of countries are going to stop airlifting. They're going to stop going to Russia. There's a lot of sanctions coming left and right, back and forth. Yeah, all these things. And there was a whole lot of discussion. I saw this on Twitter yesterday, and someone had said, Nigerians and Africans will not take this as a cue to leave now. Not until you will now start asking the federal government to look for ways to move you.
Yeah, if you take a look at it, it was the same way the U.S. government was telling people, there are people in Ukraine to move, or to move to a certain part of the country, or to leave the country. Travel advisories were issued weeks ago.
Yeah.
And any smart or forward-thinking human being, not necessarily a government now, any forward-thinking human being would know that it was time to tap into that. The same thing happens at times. At times, I feel it's far-fetched or exaggerated, but you hear when the U.S. government in Nigeria will tell their citizens, they issue all those travel warnings, don't leave the island, don't go to this part of Lagos, or don't. But at times, it's based on some form of information that they have. At times, it's just some exaggerated form of information. But whatever it is, it better be safe than sorry. So it's still not too late.
So
for people who are in Russia now, who know that.
Which is why I think that also people
they value their lives.
Use Ukraine as an example. We saw yesterday there are actually tweets of people dying, walking. Yes, some countries are opening up their borders but the stress of you walking, some people are walking as long as a whole day in the cold, winter.
I must say kudos to the people of Poland. I saw a video of a Nigerian lady who crossed the border into Poland. They were on a bus, and there were people waving flags and waving at them and actually clapping for them as they came into their own country. Like a hero's welcome of sorts. And I'm like, wow, this is a departure from all the stuff we've seen, not heard alone, but seen, And again, we cannot rule out, see, people try to sugarcoat a lot of things, but we cannot rule out the fact that as Africans, this shouldn't really concern us.
Yes.
It shouldn't really be our issue. I'm not saying that they should have issues, but the fact that they do, because when there are African conflicts, these people don't get involved. You know why? Because they stay in their countries, right? So again, I repeat, we must develop Africa. We must develop Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, South, everywhere must be good enough for Africans to stay back in Africa. I see the way we're being treated. I see the way we're being talked to. I see the way there's a compilation. There's a compilation of videos from different reporters.
Yeah, I saw that thing. I did.
On different media platforms, including Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera had to issue
CNN,
an apology.
BBC,
CBS.
Yes.
All of them, the way they analyze the crisis and the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, like say, other people.
They talk down.
This is not
They talk down Iraq, talk down Afghanistan, talk down Asia, talk down Africa. You don't do that. You don't do that.
They're not supposed to. They're regular people.
This is what they think about us. This is what they think about us. This is what they see. that this blue. So one guy was talking about how he's trained to see blue-eyed people with blonde hairs, and are you kidding me right now?
That's what.
Are you saying that the
is,
black skin or the brown skin
are the ones that
should be going through crisis because they were built for it? So one other female reporter was talking about how these are not refugees; they are white Christians, middle class. Are you kidding me?
What? So there is a particular race that refugees have to be.
That refugees have to be, of course, of a certain part of the world, either from Asia or Africa.
See, let's be honest.
And that's what I'm seeing from all this Ukraine. So for me, I'm not going to get involved in all of this. I'm just going to bring out this aspect as it concerns Africans.
We are now.
That's what I'm concerned about.
As you point that you are now, I've seen a lot of people say that Nigeria is not good enough. That's why people don't want to leave Russia. That's why people don't want to leave Ukraine.
Stay now.
I'm lost.
You can stay. Is anybody forcing you to come back to Nigeria?
I don't even think. Take for example. I don't even think Russia is even that. They're not even that habitable. They're not that hospitable to you in the first place. Yeah. So you can imagine the kind of hostility that is going on now in that kind of place, and then a lot of countries, the United States, as large as it is, as developed as it is literally telling people to leave. But you know that you have one Amadioha that is saving you, Abi, that will save you from missiles. Don't worry. Parts of your body will still be picked in Belarus. That one is sure. Just putting it out there.
Well, I won't go that far, but I'm just saying that we should be responsible for our actions.
Because as much as
government should value every life, but what are you also doing?
Think about it. There are some things that I'm sure that if some people have left a few days before, even if now the Nigerian government would airlift people, they will move people, bring people back to Nigeria. Some people have had to, virtually everybody had to go through harsh conditions to get to other places. So I've seen videos of how people have been discriminated at, they've been guns have been pointed at them. Like I literally saw tweets of someone saying yesterday that on the walk to the borders, 2 people died of cold. So these are things that, and of course, no matter how comfortable these embassies even want to help you with, it's not your house.
And those are avoidable deaths.
Those are avoidable things. So if you can avoid it, a lot of those places now, Russia is not somewhere that you want to be very comfortable in at the moment. It's also not, as much as there isn't war yet in Russia. We've seen the amount of sanctions that is going on, that is affecting Russia at the moment. It's not a joke. As of today now, even media, there's a lot of things happening with the media now. Netflix, Google,
internet service providers,
YouTube apps. A lot of people are actually shutting down a lot of things in Russia. So I'm like, okay, so at the end of the day, how hospitable, how nice are these places anymore?
All right.
Like, how nice are these places? So where does this even come from? I don't know what people are doing, but as of today now, also talking about Russia, we know that UEFA and FIFA have suspended all Russian teams. World Rugby have also suspended Russia from they've also banned Russia from its competitions.
Please let me look into this sound.
So I think that this whole Russian thing, it's going to continue whether we like it or not. It's going to be a daily thing. We're going to keep talking about things from sports to entertainment to we've seen business now. Business is the everyday. The Russian ruble is dropping so much. The economic hardships is dropping, is really hard. Even oil companies, I read it that RB and Shell are actually pulling out of Russia. You would think that Russia, as big as it is, also saw another country that is dropping Russia. A lot of countries are stopping the exports to Russia at the moment. So I do not also, as much as Russia wants to be Russia, I do not want to envy the regular person on the road in Russia. They're going to be feeling a lot of crunch. The oil sector, other than the fact that the good thing is that oil is becoming more, but the quota, we're also forgetting that there is a major quota that Russia brings to the table now. I can't remember what country as of today had stopped the import of Russian crude into their country as well. So they don't want Russian crude oil anymore. Shell and RB, those are really huge crude oil giants. They're pulling out of Russia. I want to see how Russia wants to pull this economically alone. I want to see how they want to pull this off in the next 1-2 weeks. It's not looking good for Russia at all. So, and everything, we all know that the bottom line, it happens all over the world, is that it's the person on the road that feels it the most.
Yeah, of course. Every time that these things happen, that old saying comes into play that when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers.
Yeah.
And of course, I agree with what people say that Russia should not have invaded Ukraine under any guise whatsoever. But a lot of people feel that Russia had a reason for doing it. But the truth is, it's a sovereign country, regardless of how
you want to look at it. Also, and MasterCard and Visa have blocked Russian financial institutions from using. So
apart from SWIFT, and that SWIFT platform is a big blow.
So
to Russian banks.
Imagine you have cards now, you can't use them anymore.
It's crazy.
It's a very, very crazy thing. It's a very crazy thing, but we hope that. I'm hoping that, I know that yesterday Russian and Ukrainian delegates went to the Belarusian border to have talks and all that. The Ukrainian government have brought out their own demands. Russian government have brought out their own demands as well. As of today now, there's stories about how the French president is talking to Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, really to broker some form of peace and all that in this whole thing. I hope that this thing does not go as much.
Well, I think it's about 6 days now.
Yes.
And nobody's talking about casualties on both sides. You just hear a lot of propaganda.
Oh, yeah. As of today now, there is... they said that there's Russian missiles that got to the town of Kharkiv today, where the missile hit a government government building very close to where civilians are. There's talks about an Indian student dying from that incident, and all that is back and forth. Like you said, there's been a lot of stories back and forth about how 400 mercenaries from Russia are sent to Ukraine to kill the president. There's a lot of talks back and forth, but we will not really give those things until there's sure information on a lot of things.
Again, I see the groundswell of support for Ukraine.
Yeah.
People are sending them weapons. They're sending them lethal weapons, all sorts of stuff, right? But I don't know the way human beings are wired. It's the same way. It's only when people die that a certain group of people get together to raise money. Yeah. They start to contribute for the person's burial and all of that. But maybe some of that money would have kept him alive.
Would have gotten better.
So look at Ukraine now. How come they didn't get this kind of support before? But now that there's war, everybody's giving them weapons, giving them, even in America, where under Donald Trump, they actually voted against supporting Ukraine. Now the same people who voted against supporting Ukraine, especially Republicans, are coming out to speak a lot of talk and jive. I think
everybody just wants once we fixate on something, it's just about perception. I think that's the thing. How it feels, it looks at the moment. It looks like it's a nice idea to support Ukraine.
Okay.
Jonathan, that's the way I see some of these things. Like, looks like it's a nice idea to support Ukraine, so let's support Ukraine at the moment. We know it's a whole lot of things back and forth, but we definitely bring you. There's going to be, I'm sure there will be daily updates from now. We'll definitely be bringing as much updates as we can bring all over the world concerning Ukraine and Russia. Now let's move from that and let's come back to Nigeria. As there's a lot that has been happening in, or would I say, the House of Assembly, the National House of Assembly is very busy today. We know that today they're supposed to begin the voting on the constitution amendment, and I wanted to put something out there because I think that a lot of people don't get it, or more like I think that a few people it's almost like a few people just want to talk, or people don't understand a lot of things. I know that everybody is saying throughout the 1999 constitution, this and this and that, and the truth is that whether we like it or not, the 1999 constitution, whatever amendment, it can only be amended. Throwing out the Nigerian constitution means we don't have president, we don't have a governor, we don't have a national assembly. That's literally what it means. Maybe people don't get what it means. So we can amend depending on how much that can be amended. Yes, every single law in the book can be amended, but it can only be amended.
Yeah, a lot of things stem from a lack of knowledge. Some people are willing to learn, some don't even care, and they want to be critics, they want to talk about stuff, they want to analyze. It's allowed, but get a little bit of understanding about stuff. Then again, I don't blame them completely. How much education is the government doing? How much education is available for people to understand constitutional, debate before you jump on that bandwagon of saying throw the constitution out or do this or do that? Do you even understand it? Do you even know what it's about? You get. On Friday, the president of Nigeria signed into law the Electoral Amendment Act of 2022, and everybody thought he would not, but he signed it, right? As at today, some people have made it into like a file folder kind of thing, and they're selling it in traffic.
Really?
Yeah. They're selling it in traffic.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Now, a government official or a government appointee talked about it, and it was like, wow, how ingenious this is and all. But again, didn't that speak to you to say, and he asked the question if they have the right to do it or not. We don't know until we go and look into the law to say, oh, do you have a right to sell this or not?
Sell because it's free information out there.
But that shows that there is a lacuna, there is a hole, there is a space that needs to be filled. So, in signing that thing into law, wouldn't have been a nice thing if the entire law was published? Like, even the media houses that picked the story, nobody's publishing the entire thing. They're just taking something out of it, or taking something, or these are the 10 points. But I'm sure it's
right there.
Where?
I'm sure if you Google it, it's probably somewhere.
Exactly. That is the problem. Do you get what you're not getting?
I get what you're saying.
I am saying
that it should be published.
Government is failing in the area of information dissemination.
Oh yes, I agree.
The media, some media people want to do it, but they don't even have access to it. So why don't you inundate us with this information? Why don't you make it readily available? You've signed this law, then why don't you break it down? Break it down into Nigerian English, broken English, into different languages. Because a lot of people are just hearing people say Amendment Act, Electoral. They don't really get it.
Don't get a lot of these things.
The same way The same way the Senate and the House of Reps is discussing today, 68 amendments, 68 bills. They are voting. They're not even discussing. They are voting. Voting is ongoing as we speak. And these decisions will affect you and me.
Oh yes, it would. It would.
This is one of the biggest amendments ever. I'm not saying it is the biggest. I'm saying it is one of the biggest. You get?
Probably.
You know, I always like to leave a error of margin and everything. Like, so what, a margin for error and everything. What I'm just basically saying is, if people understood how important today's voting was, they'll probably even be watching it, and they're streaming it.
Yeah,
they're streaming it on Facebook.
Just sit down their TVs and actually stay glued to this thing.
If you can't watch TV, the House of Reps is streaming it live as we speak on Facebook. You get? So we say they're not doing enough, but at least they've done that.
There is not much of the. I don't even think we're even hungry for a lot of information, and I think we should even just begin before we even get to breaking down these things, because I think that some of these things we need to actually talk about them and see if these bills make some sense or not, because this is also another reason why these things should be out there. It's not every bill that they're amending that would make sense. Now, talking about amendment bills, today, the president, we know that the president has gone to Kenya, and he said that from Kenya he's supposed to go to London. And the story of today is that the president had written the National Assembly to amend the Electoral Act that you spoke about earlier that has already been signed. And basically, the section that he's asking for is the section where he's saying, the section that says that political appointees are not supposed to, they have to resign before they can contest in an election. So it's section 84, Section 84, subsection 12 of the 2021 Electoral Act.
Yes. A lot of people will be like, oh, didn't you just sign it on Friday? Why are you asking for an amendment? But this is where we need to understand. Signing a law today does not mean you cannot call for an amendment in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You get? Amendments are meant to make things better and to improve it. You get? Now, if he had held back his signature,
there would have been another
on
story.
That Friday. So I think what the president has done is to say, okay, I respect the rule of law and the process of creating these laws. I have signed within the time frame, the 30 or 31 day window, and here are my observations, and this is my prayer before you guys. Of course, it's still something that has to be done by the House of Assembly.
Okay, so now he's saying, according to them, the law states that no political appointee should be a voting delegate or be voted for at the convention or congress of any political party for the nomination of any candidate for an election. According to President Buhari, he says that the amendment is necessary as the clause constitutes a fundamental defect and leads to this disenfranchisement of political office holders.
I agree. So, let's situate it. Senior Special Advisor on social media.
Okay.
That's an appointment.
Yeah.
Then he cannot vote during his own party's. Abi?
No, he's not allowed to. He can't be a delegate.
Why? He has a voice. And he should have a right. Universal adult suffrage. You're 18 and above. You're allowed to vote. So he can vote in the general elections, but he can't vote during his own party's congress.
No.
It doesn't make any sense. What was the reason why that clause was inserted in the first place?
Maybe. But now I'm thinking about it. It actually does not make so much sense.
Any sense.
Because as an appointee, let's be honest with ourselves, he's already a party member.
He is.
So you can't say that
The funny thing
because you don't want him to be in politics. He's a party member.
The funny thing is, not all appointees are party members.
Yeah.
But most times when they get these things, we all know the truth. Let's stop fooling ourselves.
Yeah.
They bring in a neutral guy from some nice corporate company now, some part of the corporate world, and bring him into the role of a special advisor or something. There's no way the guy won't get into politics now, especially when he likes the role and he wants to continue.
Continue.
So we know that not all appointees are political people, but it's difficult now. It's very hard. I remember when Nigeria was pretending to create a government.
What do you mean by pretending?
Yes, there was a time we claimed that we're creating a government of national unity. So the PDP was the party at the center, but they actually picked some ministers from the opposition. Remember that Bola Ige served in that government.
Okay, and then
remember that I think it was Adesanya's daughter also. About a couple of them were appointed as advisors or as ministers.
And then
eventually some of those people, they will gravitate now.
Of course.
Yeah, they will gravitate to the party that will give them work.
Of course.
It's people like Bola Ige that were like, straightforward. Nope, they are AD.
We know what happened.
You get, they are AD. You understand? So it's hard. It's hard for you to say someone is a political appointee and they are not allowed.
They are not allowed. I get.
Why?
Why? But anyway, we've not heard what the House of Assembly has to say to that yet, but we definitely will talk about it. So we'll definitely bring updates when they have something to say. So let's now go to the House of Assembly. Before, we know that today they commenced the voting on the Constitution amendments, yeah? And we know that they are supposed to be looking at 68 bills. But before
they're already voting.
The thing started. I think I read it. They started voting about 12:04.
Yeah, there's a thread. For those of you who are interested, there's a thread on Twitter at NGR Senate. It's a verified handle. They're showing you the voting patterns and the bills.
And at least the last I know that the voting is electronic.
Yes.
So it's.
And according to the Senate today, 94 senators registered to vote today.
Yes.
94.
And we know that
which is a good turnout.
It's a very good turnout. They're 109.
107, 109.
They're 109. So it's
are they all alive? You get.
Seriously. True, somebody probably maybe
there's always that.
They've not done a by-election or something. But 94 out of 109 is a very good number. So before they started in the House of Representatives today, we know that last week the wife of the president was at the Senate today, and also the wife of the vice president decided to witness the voting today. But before she came in, the Speaker of the House of Representatives has asked a member to go and usher her in, and then a lot of people went off, like, why is she there? What's she doing there? And blah 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 blah. But and then the speaker had said that they should put it to a vote. They did, which was just the ayes and the nays. And of
voice
course,
votes.
Voice votes. And according to what I read, they said the nays had it, but the speaker said the ayes have it, and she was still ushered in. So I'm like, why do we actually still go on with this voice votes thing? Because if it's whatever the speaker feels like doing or say at that point, or the Senate president, whatever he feels like at that point, people's votes don't even matter.
A lot of talk has been said about this voting system in the House of Assembly, the Reps and the Senate, lower and upper chamber. But they have the facility to do electronic voting. And next time, when they're reviewing, I hope someone can also point it out, why they need to move into the era of electronic voting within the house itself. Now that's a true reflection of whatever should be happening in the house, because really and truly, because if you're concerned about what they are going to vote for, then you should allow their votes count.
But
So if their eyes, and again, you see, and that's the loophole in that system. It's the speaker's discretion to say the ayes have it or the nays have it. If that's what he heard, then that's what he heard.
Now
he has the gavel.
That's the first thing. Second thing I see with that voting system, or not let me say voting system. The issue was, why did they have a problem with anybody coming to witness? It's an open session. We know they have closed sessions.
So the thing is,
why did you have a problem with anybody at all?
The thing is, I do not understand the protocol for such executive visits, because being a wife of the vice president, she's from the executive arm of government, one way or the other. I do not understand the protocol for such visits, right? But again, it should be done without being obtrusive. It should be done without being this subject, especially on a day where you're only there to observe. You're not there to present or defend, you know, a bill or anything. You know, so the wife of the vice president should probably have just gone to the gallery quietly, and maybe they can recognize her presence when they tell the speaker, oh, look at the dignitaries that we have with us. They're in the gallery up there. Everybody waves at them. Thank you. And, you know, and then it's quiet. But you are coming into the chamber, maybe they could be allowed to come in quietly without any fanfare or ceremony. You know, but again, even at that, what do the legislators have to fear?
Exactly.
What exactly?
Like, it's we know it's not a closed session. So what meaning that you and I can actually go there to actually observe.
Of course.
So why do you have a problem with it? And the truth is that these people have nothing to say. All they have to do is observe. So let's do a little breakdown of the bills that happened today. In the Senate today, the bills that has been passed already, the Senate has passed the bills to grant financial and administrative autonomy to local government areas in the country.
Yeah, we already know that this government already started something, like, but this bill is going to strengthen that and make it, standard and all. This is one of the best decisions that have been taken in Nigerian politics. This is one of the best things that could happen to governance and development of, life and people at the grassroots, which is where the local government caters to. I particularly love this.
Well, there was something that you talked about before we came on, and I think that maybe it should have been put into the electoral bill, is the elections of local government. And I think that this is still one of the major issues the local governments would have.
Yeah.
If it's still determined by the state.
This is an aberration. And let me explain myself, guys. So, the state is a microcosm of the federal. Like, it's a smaller version of the federal. And the federal
they don't determine the elections.
The president has immunity. The governor has immunity.
Yeah.
The president can select his judicial officers, his league, the state also does the same. The president will send the name of the umpire, electoral umpire, in this case the INEC chairman, to the assembly for approval. Yeah. At the state level, I assume that's what should be. But that's where the similarity stops. The president cannot determine when elections will be held. The president cannot determine who contests for what role.
Why does the state have
at state level?
Why does that happen? Because you would expect that if that happens, the president is more powerful.
The assembly elections are conducted by the federal electoral body, which is INEC.
Yes.
So why can't we have the same structure for the local government? So that, because the local government system in Nigeria, a lot of people still don't know, we need to educate them, is a parliamentary system. So the chairman, you know, is the executive chairman of the local government, but the councillors are parliamentarians.
Yeah.
You get? But the election is conducted by the state electoral body. And since 1999 till 2022, I stand to be corrected. Yes, I do. We cannot come boldly to say that any of those state electoral bodies have covered themselves in glory.
Yeah.
They are all an
appendage of the state government,
on the strings of the state government.
and that's where the issue comes from. Like, so why doesn't this happen in the federal and it happens in the state?
If it doesn't happen at federal, it shouldn't happen at state. Let INEC, that is already independent, conduct all elections in Nigeria. Absorb some of those people at the state level into your INEC if you think they are worthy. But conduct all elections. Let local government elections be conducted on the same day that they are electing the governors and the House of Assembly members. Do not give the power to conduct elections to state governors or their so-called state independent electoral, because they're not independent.
They're not.
No election have they conducted that is not biased and already predetermined. And if we're sure that we really want the local government to thrive, the process of bringing the local government people into governance must be looked into. And that process being handled by the state House of Assembly and state electoral bodies should not stand. This is the crux of the matter. So even when you pass all these bills for autonomy and everything, the state governors still have the power to still put the person that is autonomous. But if they lose that power and it goes the same way, the president doesn't have such powers. The governor shouldn't have it.
Yeah.
Let the process of determining who is the next local government chairman, the next councillors, go to INEC. Completely. Then we can now talk about real autonomy.
Real autonomy, yes, exactly.
That's when the discussion can start. So I like this bill, but if they don't look at the process of getting
how
them,
they get into the system,
it's just a waste of time.
There's a problem. There's still a problem at the end of the day. It's a very, very funny one. It's still the Boom Bar on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Ola Doluko, and with me in the studio is SR. Will definitely be talking about the constitutional amendment that has been going on right now. As of now, there's been a lot of voting, and let's look at a few bills that they're going to that have been voted for, or that are going to be voted for. We talked about the local government and financial autonomy, financial and administrative autonomy, the financial autonomy of state legislatures and state judiciary. Remember that about a week ago, the Supreme Court had said that the president's executive order on this was illegal, and we know for a fact, or let me say we know, the only person that could change it or could agree to the president's executive order is the National Assembly. So that executive order can only stand now if the National Assembly officially agrees
and
to
this is what some of these bills cater to.
Yes,
in a way.
So because I felt that when that court case came out, I felt that the whole the strike of God knows how many days that the judiciary had, I think he ended up becoming a waste.
Well, eventually with the ruling
in the court, it didn't make any sense anymore, because whether the president agreed to it or not, the court had said it was illegal. So they were back to square one at the end of the day. So hopefully this will definitely cater for it. Also, another one that we talked about a few days ago, one of the issues is devolution of powers, and this is the national grid system. There's
several devolution of powers, but one of them is the national grid.
A bill for an act to alter the provision of the constitution to allow states to generate, transmit, and distribute power in areas covered by the national grid. Basically,
in layman's terms,
breaking down the national grid.
Let's also break it down again. But we won't dwell too much on it. If you move into a developing area and there's no electricity infrastructure in your place, so you need to buy cables, you need to buy poles, you need to buy transformers. Guess what? Everything you buy does not belong to you. It belongs to the power generating and power distribution companies, depending on whatever capacity or power that you're attracting or bringing into that area. It's the same way people have had to pay bills even when they were generating powers for themselves. And that's completely wrong. But now, the states will do what Lagos tried to do when Bola Tinubu was governor, and when I think it was Atta or so that was governor in, is it Cross River or River State, where they were able to generate their own power.
So basically...
But now, it should go beyond generating. We're talking about distributing.
Distributing. Now, at least, hopefully, maybe... there won't be collapse of national
and sales of power.
So it's like deregulating power, basically.
The national grid should be the national grid. Supply power to the presidency,
the federal,
to all the federal parastatals, the federal highways and all of that. Let that be the power of the national grid. Let the state power generating
I think that
Lagos State already has its own power generating company.
That's more power.
That's what it means.
That's more power that can be generated. More power.
Decentralizing it would make it more available to people.
I agree. I think this is one of the major issues. But a few days ago, the governors are already kicking against this. Unfortunately, there's really nothing they can do about it. If it is passed,
a lot of people need to start calling their
governors out. Yes,
you need to start. Are they serving you? Are you their servants? In reality, we realize that these people are supposed to be working for us. We are paying their salaries.
And so, also another issue.
Why would you be against
that kind of thing?
Especially when it comes to power generation and distribution?
Another bill under the devolution of powers is correctional services. Now, the basic thing is that they're saying that this bill, they want to remove prisons generally from the executive legislative list and put it in the concurrent legislative list, redesignate it as correctional services. Basically, what they're saying is that
it's not just a nomenclature change.
It's not just a nomenclature change. Prisons will now be under the states.
Both, like when you deregulate, there could be federal prisons.
Basically, there's state prisons now and all that. And
I hope that's what it means, and that's a good thing.
Oh no, yes, they're actually not federal prisons anymore. Literally delete prisons completely.
No, you can't. They shouldn't.
That's what they're saying. Delete prisons in the exclusive list, and just it's basically prisons are under the purview of the state.
That's a bad move right there. That's a bad move. So what do you say to someone who has committed a federal crime? You will now go and state, please
go to your state.
Can you please imprison this person? No. You see, it's supposed to be deregulated in a way where we have federal facilities, state facilities. That's the way it should be. You know, that way the states can build their own correctional facilities. The federal government should maintain theirs, upgrade theirs too. Also, what happens to the drive by the current minister? They are building some new prisons now. There's a new one in Osogbo that was commissioned a few months ago, and that's supposed to be like a replica of stuff that they would build across Nigeria. Yeah. So I don't think they should just limit it to the states.
That exactly. Another one that I'm not sure I'm very interested in is the special seats for women. I don't know how that wants to work. So what they're saying is that they should provide special seats for women in the national and state houses of assembly.
Well, most people who make it to the House of Reps are representing a particular federal constituency.
States as well. You're representing a constituency.
So, these special seats for women will probably be done around maybe geopolitical zones or whatever.
I don't know how this wants to work.
But until there's a clearer picture on how
they're going to work,
you know. But I feel that we should not create special seats for women.
I agree.
I feel that we should create level playing fields for
Fields.
women.
Or even
we should
make
encourage more women to get involved.
Make
it more attractive for women.
For women, encourage more women to join.
Subsidize their registration.
But that you will now say that women, there are some special seats, meaning that if you're not careful, it's only those special seats women are going to get.
Because now you are now saying, oh, after all, there's a special seat for women.
There's a special
we
seat
know
for
how
women.
some of these men operate.
I don't agree with it. I don't think this.
But let's see the modalities for it.
We'll see. We don't even know if it's going to be passed yet. Another one that is very interesting that I saw here is a bill to literally separate the office of the Attorney General of the Federation, and also and the states, and the Minister of Justice.
I've always wondered why that thing was. I like what they're doing with this bill. My opinion. But maybe we should get lawyers and get what their own opinion will be. But on this one, I like that a lot.
So they're saying that
at
this
federal
is
and
to
state
make
level,
offices of the Attorney Generals independent and insulated from partisanship.
Yeah. And remember that in America, when Donald Trump was talking tough and he wasn't going to hand over, the office of the attorney was already invoking the law, like, don't worry, in a few days time, these are the things that we will do, regardless of the fact that maybe it was Trump that put him there or not, regardless of who puts you there.
Exactly.
You should put the country first.
I think I agree with this thing.
That's why maybe a Malami now should not be seen as Buhari's legal counsel.
Because that's what the Attorney General is.
It should be
your legal counsel is your own person,
separate.
The minister is working for the country. I agree with you.
Not even the government, the country.
So also another one on fundamental human rights is a bill to make free, compulsory and basic education a fundamental right of all citizens.
That will be beautiful.
I think it's beautiful. It's going to I think it's going to help a lot of children.
But it's like the right to vote and be voted for. Again, it has to be activated. Do you know how many adults have never voted in this country? People who are of voting age, they've never bothered. You get? So again, if you make this a fundamental right, let people who will be affected by this activate it. Let them key into it. You get? But if basic education, and what is basic? That's like primary school education.
Yeah, basic education is
if that is free and compulsory.
So meaning that all through all states, it is
there's no question about it.
No question.
Take a child to a public school, the child will be educated.
Yes, exactly.
I always say, what has your government done for you? These are the kind of things that you say, oh, my government did this for me. Yes. Subsidy, my government is doing it for me. Because I'm speaking to my friends outside Nigeria and I see how much they're buying fuel. And it's mad. Yeah. Someone in the UK said they're spending about £89 to fill the car. If you just quickly convert that to Naira, you understand? You understand? Government, don't remove subsidy.
Let's have fun. I'm talking about voting, Another bill is a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution to provide diaspora voting.
That would be nice. Nigerians in the diaspora, there are a lot of them. The ones that qualify, maybe because they relocated or by birth or whatever.
We already have NINs and all those things to validate people.
They can be checked. It's a nice thing to have them vote, It will be nice. It will be nice for them to vote, But again, they're diaspora people, and I know you guys won't like it, but you all need to chill and you all need to learn.
Okay, so there are updates on these bills. As of right now, the bill for virtual court hearings failed at the Senate.
Oh, that happened like an hour ago.
Also, the bill for special seats for women has failed at the House of Reps right now. Well, I agree with you. I'm sorry. I'm just...
If you look at the one for the Senate, the bill that they're talking about, if you look at the way they voted, then you're wondering, okay, how did it fail? Because the number of people who voted for that electronic judicial whatever, which one did you point out now, was still about 60-something people. So how did it fail? I'm like, okay, I don't understand. 60-something is more than any other number. except there is a certain
There's
number
certain number
that is required.
yeah.
So the 62 or whatever that
It
they
was
had
not
was not
enough.
enough.
Was not enough.
But again, that's
for-
wrong now. So a person that voted 20 something against wins.
Yeah,
I will never I
but
will
you
never
know that
understand
they
this
say
thing.
that you need either. There's some bills I was reading it that you need either 2/3 that of the house. Some
know.
you need 3/4 of the house
Yeah.
for it. So
Now, some of those bills, again, let me do a quick rundown, has to do with the naming of some local governments and stuff. Like Afikpo North and Afikpo South local government areas. There's a bill, to to change the names of those local governments. There's another bill to change the name of Kunchi local government area of Kano State. There's a bill for an act to alter the provisions and constitution of the Federal Republic to change the name of Egbado North and Egbado South local government areas for related matters.
okay.
So there's Barkin Ladi local government area and on and on and on. Back to you, Dodo.
So another one that looks like has failed is that the House of Reps has rejected the addition of the VAT to the exclusive list.
Well, let's see how that one works out, because VAT is always very contentious and everything. And speaking about VAT, as much as we don't enjoy the value, we don't like the value on the cost of VAT. I think it's 7.5% or something.
It's 7.5%.
I just found out that Ghana is like 19%.
Tell that to the people in Russia. That the past 1 week, their VAT has been increased there has been doubled.
They need money for war.
They need money, lots of money. So a bit of me is kind of happy that the bill on special seats for women
what was it
actually
gonna be?
failed. Because I don't know how that I still did not understand how the modalities of how they were going to make it work generally. Wow, we're like almost out of time, but before we go, there's just like another thing.
The bill on judicial reforms has failed to pass. 68 people voted yes, 7 people voted no, 1 person abstained. So there were a total of 76 votes. You remember that 94 senators registered to vote. So that bill has failed to pass. A bill for an act to alter the constitution of the Federal Republic to provide timelines to which civil and criminal cases are heard and determined at trial and appellate courts in order to eliminate unnecessary delay in justice administration.
It failed.
No,
wow.
That bill failed to pass.
Wow.
And this would have been a nice bill because, again, usually there are cases that drag for years.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. Finally, before we go, we know that another major thing that is affecting us right now is fuel scarcity is really biting really, really hard. And yesterday I was reading it. I think the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, fortunately and unfortunately, the President is the Minister for Petroleum. We know that so this actually literally stops at
It's his fault. It's the president's fault
at the end of the day. So they were also talking about
oh my God.
One of the issues that they also might be having now is the Ukraine and Russia issue. There's not enough quota, so everybody seems to be hoarding what they have, and it's what is left that they would give you that they can sell to you. And now it still goes back to the issue of when are we going to start refining our own crude oil. I think that's when this kind of conversations can stop. And finally, we're still talking about this. Nupeng has decided to boycott depot owners selling petrol above 148 naira 77 kobo.
So this scarcity is not about to end.
This looks like it's not about to end. We know, I don't know for other, but I've heard about.
We bought fuel at 200 naira on Sunday. On Friday, on Thursday we bought at 190.
There's a lot of issue between Nupeng and Ipman. They're saying that what Ipman is doing, that the ex-depot price has not increased. And I'm like, okay, what is NNPC saying about this thing? This is where we need the Minister of State, the NNPC. They need to really look into this. That it needs to be
and the Minister of Petroleum himself.
No, he's not around.
Okay.
It's not at home.
It is well.
So on that note, that is all we have to take today on the Boom Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll definitely be back tomorrow. We thank you for the people that watch. Thank you for the likes on YouTube. God bless and keep you. We will definitely be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time, but you can still watch this on Boom Radio YouTube page. It is